The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users. Breaking news, a U.S. airline plane has come down in the Hudson River up in the area of 40th Street, where not too far from the Intrepid Air and Space Museum. Now, from what we can tell, the plane is still afloat, and they have been rescuing people off of the plane and putting them onto ferry boats. New York Waterway ferry boats have rushed to the scene to put people on the ferry boats in order to rescue them, along with the police department and along with the fire department of New York. We now have a reporter and a cameraman going to the scene. We're going to try to get you some live pictures from the scene. But the information we have is that this US Airways plane was flying very low over the Hudson River and came down in the river around the 40s behind the Intrepid Air Space Museum, which is a floating museum, an aircraft carrier on the Hudson River. We have not yet received any word on whether there are any individuals who have been injured or killed as a result of this crash. This is going on right now into eternity, and anybody who has any information based on what they are hearing from the media, please raise your hand and we will give you opportunity to speak. Go ahead, Boaz.
Gary, I'm watching this event, this tragic event unfold on CNN Breaking News, and they are reporting that the Coast Guard Authority are dropping life jackets into the water because apparently there are survivors alive in the aircraft. This is what I'm getting right now off of CNN.
Well, we are told that it is a U.S. Airways plane that originated in Charlotte, North Carolina. And that's about all the information we have now. There are cameras on the scene from CNN, and somebody's reporting in the room now that it is believed that they may have hit a flock of birds, and that caused the plane to go down. Mama Be Good raises a very important issue. The opportunity to survive in that kind of an environment is very limited because it's extremely cold here in New York City, and as a result of that, you don't want to be exposed to the water. So if people are out there in the water, they need to get them out of the water as quickly as possible. Once again, to recap, a U.S. Airlines plane coming in from Charlotte, North Carolina, was flying, according to eyewitnesses, low over the Hudson River and went into the water in the area of the Intrepid Air, Space, and Sea Museum. That's up in the 40s. Now, just south of that museum, the New York Waterways has a ferry terminal, and we're told that ferries are there on the scene along with Marine units from both the fire department and from the NYPD, as well as Coast Guard assets, attempting to rescue people now. There are people reported in the water or on life rafts in the Hudson River. We have not yet heard of any injuries or fatalities as a result of this U.S. Airways plane crashing into the Hudson River here in New York City. Okay, 1010 Winds is reporting that it was coming to New York City from Charlotte. New York Jake is reporting that he is hearing that it was taking off from LaGuardia. I can tell you that in cases like this, information is very sketchy in the beginning, and sometimes the early information that you receive turns out not to be the accurate information. We have a couple of people making their way to the scene now. We hope to bring you live pictures here shortly and maybe some eyewitness accounts. Boaz?
Well, Gary, from what I'm observing here on CNN News, the aircraft, which is surrounded right now by ferry boats, by Coast Guard, and whatnot, they're talking about about how they're going to evacuate the people that are inside the aircraft, given that it was noted that the aircraft is sinking tail first, going down slowly. So they were talking about the rear door of the aircraft would be problematic to open because it is nearly below the waterline, and that the only way that they can really get out now is through the front door, which is still above the waterline. And that's what they're reporting at this point.
Here's the latest information that I am receiving about this crash. A US Airways commercial plane has crashed into the Hudson River off of Manhattan. It's flight 1549. New York Jake is accurate. The flight took off from LaGuardia Airport about a half an hour ago en route to Charlotte, North Carolina. 146 passengers were on board. Firefighters, police officers, Coast Guard are on the scene, as well as commercial ferry boat crews rescuing people. Passengers have been taken off the plane and are being placed in lifeboats. At this point, we do not know whether there are any casualties. The plane is still afloat, but as Boaz has just suggested to us, it is beginning to sink into the Hudson River. So obviously, casualties or not, it's important to get those 146 people off the plane or off the lifeboats or out of the water and into a safe place. Hi, this is Gary.
Okay, until Gary gets back, it was also noted on CNN that it was observed by people looking into the aircraft from their points of view from the boats that are surrounding the aircraft, that there is smoke inside the aircraft. Now, whether that smoke started while the aircraft was still in the air or after it had landed in the water, I'm not clear on that. That was not mentioned on CNN. But once again, there was smoke observed inside the aircraft. From the shot that CNN is showing at this point right now, it looks like the nose of the aircraft is being held up by two Coast Guard boats that seem to be keeping it afloat, at least the front end of the aircraft, while the rear of the aircraft, that is the tail, is I would say that the rear of the aircraft is underwater, with the exception of the tail itself. From this vantage point, it also looks like what